Ms. Tsongas for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This hearing does give us an opportunity to examine the existing challenges as well as ongoing work that's being done to create healthy and resilient forests. I'd like to thank the witnesses. All of you I know traveled a great distance to be here today, and it's great to have you here. National forests account for 193 million acres across 42 states, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. These forests provide jobs to 1 million wood products workers. They absorb 20% of U.S. carbon emissions. Approximately 20% of our national water supply originates on national forest land, with approximately 60 million Americans relying on forested lands for clean drinking water. Forest Service lands generate $14.8 billion worth of recreation revenue and provide habitat for thousands of wildlife and plant species across the country, including hundreds of species listed under the Endangered Species Act. Our forests are a public good that serve multiple purposes and are sustained as such. Conserving our forests is the impressive legacy of a remarkable American, Gifford Pinchot. In 1963, President John F. Kennedy delivered an address at the dedication of the Pinchot Institute for Conservation Studies in which he said, Gifford Pinchot, quote, believed that the riches of this continent should be used for all the people to provide a more abundant life, and he believed that the waste of these resources or their exploitation by a few was a threat to our national democratic life, unquote. Sound management of our national forests is vital to maintaining their health and their multiple purposes. Over the years, however, we've regrettably seen an ever greater percentage of forestry dollars used to fight forest fires. In fiscal year 2015, wildfire funding was 52% of the service's budget. Compared to the 1990s, when wildfire funding accounted for approximately 13% of the agency's budget, it is clear this trend is unsustainable. Spending more than half of the agency's budget on wildfire management squeezes out the funds needed for other critical Forest Service programs, such as forest restoration, to ensure that we achieve the appropriate healthy balance needed for air, water, plants, and animals to thrive, as well as maintaining trails for recreation access, managing wildlife habitat in the face of invasive species, and working with timber companies to ensure timely and sustainable timber sales. I agree with the chairman that active forest management can help mitigate and manage risks associated with wildfires, but management options will always be constrained until we address how best to pay for the largest and most catastrophic fires. Both the Forest Service and the U.S. National Climate Assessment predict that the frequency and intensity of wildfires will increase throughout the 21st century. In fact, the National Interagency Fire Center predicts above normal wildfire potential in many regions of the country this year. And due in large part to the effects of climate change, this trend is expected to continue. That is why bipartisan legislation in both chambers of Congress is necessary, so that responses to these large fires can be funded like other national disasters. This important initiative will ensure that national forestry funding does not turn into just a national disaster fund for wildfires, and can instead be used to fulfill its original purpose, to make sure our nation practices good stewardship of our national forests and landscape for the health and benefit of all Americans. Despite the challenges of a shrinking and constrained budget, the Forest Service is successfully approving restoration projects in collaboration with state and local partners to help natural habitats recover from degradation, damage, and destruction. The agency just released a 5-year progress report for the Collaborative Forest Landscape Restoration Program. This program is on track to meet its 10-year goals: create job stability, achieve a reliable wood supply, restore forest health, and reduce the cost of fire suppression in overgrown forests. So far, by providing a venue for all public and private stakeholders to collaborate during the planning process, this program has successfully reduced wildfire risk on 1.45 million acres of forest land, among other remarkable successes. And we have other examples in the Good Neighbor Authority and Stewardship Contracts program of the great value of public-private partnerships for management of our national forests. These programs help the Forest Service and the BLM enter into cooperative agreements with states to conduct watershed and forest restoration services, improve forest health, and stimulate the economy. We have two witnesses here today that will be able to talk about the success of this collaborative planning. Ms. Diane Vosick is co-chair of the Forest Restorative Initiative in Arizona, which reached a major milestone this week, and Mitch Friedman's organization, Conservation Northwest, is very active in collaborative planning across the Pacific Northwest. I look forward to your insights on this subject, and I yield back.
Thank you. I'm pleased to welcome our witnesses today. As was outlined in your invitation, you'll each have 5 minutes to make presentations orally, but the full text